Stugatz here for Dollar Shave Club. Thousands of athletes are going for the gold, and as the clear champions of the bathroom, Dollar Shave Club deserves a gold medal. Dollar Shave Club has everything you need to look, smell, and feel your best. Shampoo, body wash, toothpaste, they got it all. And of course, the best razors you'll ever use. You get an amazing, high-quality shave every morning from the DSC Executive Razor. Plus, the true gold standard of any morning routine is their Dr. Carver Shave Butter. It helps the razor gently glide across your skin. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything to you. That means no more trips to the store, wandering the aisles, hunting for razors, shampoo, and toothpaste, then playing cashier, scanning and bagging your stuff. Go for the gold. Join Dollar Shave Club today, and for just $5 with free shipping, you'll get the 6-blade Executive Razor plus trial sizes of shave butter, body cleanser, and one wipe Charlie's. Then keep the blades coming for a few bucks more a month. Get yours at dollarshaveclub.com/Dan. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Dan.
This is the best of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz podcast.
Greg Cote of the Miami Herald in with us as he is every Tuesday. Stick around for him to miss Hard Network out. They are at 54:32 at the end of each hour. He hasn't gone well in Hard Network out recently.
We do a local hour for people who don't know. He's already 0 for 1 today.
That's right.
Yes.
He's 0 for 1. He had the number, the time that we were going out, pinned on a sheet of paper in front of him. The entire shipping container was counting him down with fingers, 10 to 1. He didn't see any of it. He was lost in the sound of his own voice. He's a tired narcissist. Greg Cote of the Miami Herald in with us today.
A tired narcissist. That almost sounds like an oxymoron.
So Steve Kerr last night, for those of you who do not watch late night basketball, the Warriors crushed the Suns last night. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Can you name the coach of the Suns? Yes or no? Wow. That's a good question.
Wow.
Can you name the coach of the Suns? But anyways, there's a whole idea of disrespect. Did they disrespect the Suns because they won by 45 or whatever it was, and the players were calling the plays? They were in the huddle. Draymond Green, David West, Iguodala. They were coaching the team last night, and Steve Kerr's quotes on this. And Steve Kerr is uncommonly comfortable, confident, and candid when it comes to this stuff.
Wouldn't you be with that team?
Yes, yeah. But he's also confident because he's a champion, because he's been punched in the face by Michael Jordan and won a championship with him. He's got an unusual pedigree for a guy in that position. He was an okay professional player, but he played with a champion, and he's got the confidence at every turn that you can hear in his voice when he says and does things like this.
It's their team. I think that's one of the first things you have to consider as a coach. It's not your team. It's not Bob Myers' team. It's not Joe Lacob's team, although I'm not going to tell Joe that. It's the players' team. It's their team, and they have to take ownership of it. And as coaches, our job is to nudge them in the right direction, guide them, but we don't control them. They determine their own fate, and I don't feel like we focused well at all the last month, and it just seemed like the right thing to do, and I thought they communicated really well together, and they drew up some nice plays, and it was a good night for the guys.
Yeah, blatant disrespect.
Totally.
Of the other team.
Yep.
It was wrong for him to have done that. Let's see him do it against a really good team with 5 minutes left in a close game.
Blatant disrespect?
Yes, it was
blatant disrespect.
No, Dan, he did it because it was against the Phoenix Suns.
All right, blatant disrespect. Steve Kerr disagrees.
I told Jay afterwards, I said that, people may make a big deal of it, and had nothing to do with being disrespectful. It had to do with me trying to reach my team. I have not reached them for the last month. They're tired of my voice. I'm tired of my voice. It's been a long haul these last few years, and I wasn't reaching them, and we just figured it was probably a good night to pull a trick out of the hat and do something different. I thought the players responded really well, and I just feel like when we're focused, we are really tough to beat. And tonight we were focused, and I think just having to count on each other and not hearing my voice, which sort of sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher or parents or whoever's voice that is at this point, that's what I sound like to them. So they needed a different voice.
Who's Jay?
That would have been my follow-up to Steve Kerr in the press conference.
I mean, who is that?
Jay is the coach of the Suns.
Coach Jay?
Coach Jay is the coach of the Suns, and while Greg Cote is disrespected on his behalf, Coach Jay is not disrespected.
Have you ever seen another NBA team kind of see a coach let his players coach the team throughout the whole game?
No, I mean, I've never seen it. I didn't even see it here. I'm worried about my bench. And
You feel like it's a little disrespectful?
No, he explained that it wasn't. See, whatever coaches you are, you have to do what you have to do to build your own team up. And if he thinks that helps them, I tip my hat.
The obvious question, who the hell is that?
Yeah.
Who is that person talking?
Mm-hmm. Coach Jay.
Jay Triano.
No, don't tell people.
I wanted it to be Coach Jay forever.
Don't tell people. Just
that
Coach
was his last name.
Jay.
Yeah. Coach Jay.
I'm going to call him JT. When you're JT and you're 18 and 40, of course that's the response you're going to give to reporters after the game. It was disrespectful. I'm completely with Greg. Steve Kerr, do your job. You want to impress me? Have Draymond Green, who wasn't even playing last night, have him call the plays and draw up the plays Game 7 Western Conference Finals against the Rockets. Then I'll be impressed.
Exactly.
He did it because it was against the Phoenix Suns. He should be ashamed of himself for doing it. No, Dan, if someone did that to a team that Steve Kerr was playing on or coaching against, he would be upset. I don't care what anyone says. It's disrespectful.
Yeah, it's the opposite of sportsmanship. And I'm tired of Steve Kerr saying things like, "Oh, my team, we're mentally fried." You're the defending champion. You're going to win another championship. Just quiet, please.
Oh, the same guy who can't once a week
please.
always do his back in my day doesn't understand why professional athletes traveling all over the world for 3 years under uncommon scrutiny and hatred might be tired.
No, I don't. I really don't. That's their job.
Mm-hmm. So's yours. The job that you keep choosing not to do because you're too tired or it's hard work or you can't do it because you don't feel well.
I tell you what. Next time, put it in my contract that I have to do back in my day every week because it's not in my contract, boss.
Whoa. Some tension.
I'm just saying, you guys are real comfortable telling other people how to do their jobs when...
Oh, give me a break. Your voice wasn't reaching the players anymore. You had won 7 of 10. You have the best team on the planet. You know what? You want to take a night off? Take a night off. Give your salary to the players then.
Have you already forgotten the Phoenix Suns head coach's name?
Dan Marley?
I got an idea. I mean, Cote will never get it.
JP?
I know it already. Jay Triano. Something like that.
Something like that.
Who is that person?
Jay Triano? I have no idea.
Thank you. I was right.
I'm just learning it's not Earl Watson.
That went well. The hell the Suns doing, by the way? Guillermo, put it on the poll. Hell the Suns doing. And don't even put anything else there. Just not a yes, not a no. Just hell the Suns doing. Honestly, is Devin Booker good? Are you sure? Like, I know
he's out.
But is he good? Are you sure?
He scored so many points.
I know. Are you sure though? Because somebody's got to get Phoenix to 90.
I mean, Alfred Payton got 29 last night.
I'm saying, are you sure?
He's on the Suns?
He just got traded. Yes. He just got traded. The Magic traded him. What's going on with that dude's hair?
I mean, it's been that way for a while. It's great, like, for the outdoors. You don't need to wear a hat. It shades you.
No, but Alfred Payton is trying to do for that part of the hair what James Harden is doing to the beard, and it's not working. But how amazing would it be if that guy were great?
It'd be incredible.
He is on the Suns.
He is on the Suns.
The Weeknd had that hair. The Weeknd had that exact same haircut, but he gave up on it.
It's very rare for an athlete to stay with that look across years. That look. I don't even know how to explain that look. What would you say his hair is doing? It looks like he's wearing a Carmen Miranda fruit hat.
Yeah.
I know that's an old reference, but I don't have anything else that you would put on the head that would look like that.
I don't have the answers for you, man.
Yeah, it's just the old Weeknd cut, I guess.
Is that what we're calling it?
Looking it up.
What is the name? Every haircut has a name. Like, what would that be called?
Let me Google what was
I think the name. No, the name of that haircut is Hell the Sun's Doing.
It's a floppy high raise hairdo. That's what they call it. The floppy high raise.
Like it.
Or what the hell the Sun's doing.
Dan Le Batard.
Yo, chicken time.
Stugats.
Smarter job.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Lest you think that these guys are acting or that they are paid actors, Stugats in character and Greg Cote of the Miami Herald during the break continued to have the same conversation about Steve Kerr and how disrespectful it was. Mike Ryan chimed in the middle of it with a tweet. Mike, what was that tweet? And Greg and Stugats didn't even hiccup. It wasn't even a speed bump when Mike read this tweet to us during the break.
This is courtesy of Rabdog on Twitter. Guys, I mean this sincerely and with much love. That was the worst bleeping segment ever.
And
Really?
Stugotz and Cote kept going about how disrespectful it was, and Steve Kerr, coach your damn team. And I thought to myself, and Cote was saying in the middle of it, I enjoyed ripping Steve Kerr there. I thought to myself, that's about as hack sports radio an opinion as can be had. The idea that Steve Kerr owes the Phoenix coach something and not his own team. The idea that he should be extending to this Phoenix coach some sort of sportsmanship courtesy instead of doing whatever he thinks is best for his own players to keep them loose and fun, as the only team in the league that has DJs during practice, with one of the few coaches in the league who doesn't mind letting them be young.
They're loose and fun, and they're doing just fine, and they've done just fine under Steve Kerr. It's Dan, it's only about respecting another human being, another man. That's it, because what he did last night is,
for
hey,
the love of God,
I can beat you by 40 without even calling a play. I'm going to let my players do my job for me. No, I'm sorry. It's disrespectful.
It is. Steve Kerr did his job last night. He won by 45.
And they win by 45 most nights. I'm not impressed.
No, they do
Give
not.
me a break. He's got an all-star team.
They've got a worse point differential than the Rockets. They don't win by 45 most nights.
Did you call me Greg?
They win by an average of 7 points a night.
It's about the integrity of the game. Imagine this happening in other sports, right? I mean, Bill Belichick's ahead by 40 points, and he lets the place kicker take a few snaps and play quarterback.
Right.
Just don't do that.
Guys,
a baseball team's
you
ahead by 12.
don't even know the Phoenix
so the catcher
coach's
pitches
name.
for an
You
inning.
don't even know his name, and now
Jay
you
Triani.
want Steve Kerr. You're still getting it wrong. You're talking about
Triage.
Triani is some media publicist.
It's JP. I mean,
you guys don't even know the guy's name, but you're indignant on behalf of how he must not be disrespected.
That's right.
While not knowing his name.
He's got a career winning percentage of .370. He earns a little respect.
yeah.
You've gotten his name wrong 4 times. Guillermo, put it on the poll. What's more disrespectful to Jay Triano? That Steve Kerr let his players call the game last night, or that Greg Cote can't get his name right?
I'm saying Jay Triani.
It's Triano.
That's what you say.
It's JP. Steve Kerr shouldn't do that, Dan. It's a head coach. Regardless of what his name is, he's a fellow head coach who deserves some respect.
Oh, for the love of God,
No,
with the feelings of the head coaches.
Sorry.
Bleep, do I care about the
Fraternity.
feelings of the head coaches? That guy, lucky to have a job running that franchise into the ground.
I mean, unlike Steve Kerr, this guy probably paid his dues. And the only one who's talking about the All-Star break and he needs to get away and get on a beach and relax and get away from Draymond Green is Steve Kerr. The players aren't talking about it. It's Steve Kerr who's tired. So go to a beach and relax. Stop coaching. Don't take the money. Do that. Give it to Draymond Green. Split it amongst the players. Let a young assistant have a chance to coach this All-Star team. It doesn't matter. And this is why everyone's mad at Kevin Durant, because Draymond Green, who's not playing, coaches the team and they win by 46. It's too easy. It's ruined the NBA.
I'm with Stugotz here. No one wants to hear how hard Steve Kerr's job is.
Please.
We're not here for that. And I know he's gone through awful back pain and all sorts of illness as head coach. We just don't want to hear it.
Can you play the straw man, please?
He's the last guy who should be
play the straw man, because I don't believe you heard anything from Steve Kerr talking about how hard his job is.
All the time.
Like Mike Ryan's arguing against something that
All the
hasn't been
time.
espoused by Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr at no point has mentioned how hard his job is.
He won't shut up about it.
Yeah, really.
Serious.
Quiet.
Straw Man.
They're tired of hearing my voice. We're all tired of hanging out. It's so hard winning all the time.
find the beach.
Last guy who
Where's
should
the
be
beach?
complaining.
Where's the beach?
They won't listen to me.
It's so hard coaching Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson's my 4th best player.
Guy inherited the best team on earth, and he's complaining. Please.
No. He had the best team on earth before Kevin Durant came there.
You guys are classic haters, by the way. Like, just taking whatever fuel it is that you can find to rip a team that you don't like because they just beat everyone's head in. Like, so you will find they will do the wrong thing. What is the curve, by the way, on who can they do it to that it's not disrespect?
Nobody.
Oh, so it's against the Spurs, it's also disrespect?
Set an example.
You don't do that to
Against-
Pop.
Against the Cavs, it's disrespect?
You don't do that to
Very much.
LeBron.
And Pop would never do that, man.
Right.
Never.
No, he just sits his players entirely.
But he coaches.
He does it to the fans.
But he coaches those lousy players that replace those players, and they still win.
Right.
I mean, because he's coaching. He's a coach.
He could do it to the
Pop it.
Hawks. The Hawks would work.
It's okay. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is it okay to disrespect the Hawks? I feel like it is.
No, you don't do that to Budenholzer.
I feel like you
do that.
You do.
Budenholzer's a good coach.
It's okay to do it to Budenholzer. Put that on the poll. Is it okay to do it to Budenholzer? It's okay to disrespect him. Look at him. And he looks like the clown makeup is smearing on his face. He's coming home from a long day at the bar, day drinking because his clown job fell through. So the paint is...
It's perfect.
Kind of had that thing once.
Right. I got to be careful with the drinking jokes because there are actual drinking... Was it 1 or 2 DUIs? I need to be less reckless about that.
Stand by for confirmation.
Okay, Thank you.
You're just asking a question.
Just 1 or 2.
We
really just need 1 at this point.
Right. Well, no. There has to be 1. No, wait a minute. There has to be 1.
Found not guilty.
Found not guilty.
He faced 34 months.
But that means there was an incident.
There was an incident.
Okay.
Right. We're
good.
safe.
You're good.
Okay, but only 1 incident.
Well,
that we know of.
Mike's still looking.
That we know of. Again, I asked the pertinent question of the day. How the Suns doing? I'm going to end every segment that way.
Here comes the money.
They got Jared Dudley out there saying, I suppose
upset.
it's disrespectful, but we kind of deserve to be disrespected.
Yeah,
we stink.
Yeah.
We can do something about it.
You don't find it off-putting at all that Steve Kerr is constantly complaining about his job? I mean,
I don't think he's complaining about his job. I
Go
find
lay some brick or something.
Here's what I find.
It's so mentally draining being that good.
You're
Go
always
work a 9 to 5.
You're always talking about how tired you are.
Exhausted.
Go lay some brick somewhere.
Go talk to a roofer.
When's the last time you did anything around the house? Honestly. When's the last time, as you talk about laying brick and roofers, give me the last time you that you put up a frame.
I don't need to. I have my own roofer in Abbey.
Dan Le Batard.
Which are we making less of today? Nellie's or Bert's?
Stugatz.
Although Nellie Furtado, she's with a Y. My Nellie, my Nana was Nellie, which is the way to go if you're a Nellie. See, IEs look down on Ys throughout the name kingdom.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio.
Here's your SportsCenter update. Derrick Rose, a.k.a. Damaged Goods, is a free agent. Cleared waivers. Goose Gossage called Brian Cashman a bleeping bleep hole. And finally, 26-year-old outdoors woman from Oregon recently became the first human ever infected by a type of eyeworm previously seen only in cattle. For days, the woman's left eye felt irritated. After about a week, she reached up and pulled a small worm off of her eye. The woman went to a local doctor who pulled 2 more worms from her eye. The next day, she proceeded to an optometrist who found another 3 worms. A total of 14 worms were removed from her left eye over 20 days.
Oh,
creepy.
It's a lot of Rodmans. Guys, there's only 1 day left until Valentine's. If you're still looking for the perfect gift, do it right now. 1-800-Flowers.com. They're here for you with beautiful bouquets starting at just $29.99. To order, it's simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com. You click the radio icon, you enter code Dan. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Does the world need more Goose Gossages?
Oh, yes, we do.
Well, I love the quotes calling Brian Cashman a bleeping bleep hole, but he is, Clint Eastwood in, what was that Torino movie, Gran Torino?
Oh, yeah.
Good job.
Like he's the old, get off my lawn. Yeah. He's get off my lawn guy. So's Greg Cote, by the way.
You need those guys, though, because those are the guys that just let it fly. They don't care what anyone thinks. They just let it fly, man.
Yeah, but I don't like those guys because if you were listening, if you had been listening during the commercial break, Greg Cote and Stugatz were still arguing about this Steve Kerr thing and how disrespectful it is. They insist on doing a different show than the one that I want to do. Mike, the praise is pouring in.
This is from @Rabdog on Twitter. Guys,
that guy again.
I mean this sincerely with much love. That was the worst bleeping segment ever.
The joke we were going for there, Cody, before you sabotaged it by saying that guy again and listening for the first time in the history of the show is we were going to redo the whole segment again a third time, trying to make people wonder whether they were suffering deja vu, but you neutered it by saying that guy again. Well, once again, neutering the joke before we even get started. Penalty box, please.
I thought Mad Dog was texting again.
I understand. It's Rab Dog, that's a fine.
Yep.
Whatever.
Well, it's $1.
I made that joke because I heard it in your headset, Stugatz.
They're loud today. Yeah, they're loud. I had having a tough time hearing lately, man. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I have some worms in my ear.
Greg Cote, 2 minutes in the box.
Get out of here, Cody. Thank you.
That was pretty bad. You didn't hear that, huh?
No.
You didn't hear us all discussing? I didn't even say a word, but I heard you guys discussing. I knew exactly what we were doing.
He's just so oblivious that it's infuriating. But he never forgets to bring in the stuff that he wants to publicize. That's never a mistake he makes. Somehow that's not, I mean, he is all about Greg Cote.
He is. But he should be at this stage in his life. I mean, he really should be.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so should Steve Kerr.
He's a bit younger.
I find the whole thing, have you ever had a bad boss? Because I've never had a bleep hole boss. So I'm always looking in sports at people that I'd like to work for, that seem like I'd like to work for. And Steve Kerr seems like a person that I would want to work for.
I've never had a bad boss, but Allison has.
Yeah, it was you.
Yeah.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand, and this is a constant conundrum for me. How much do you think his players appreciated that last night? How cool a thing would that be if you're the players? Yes or no would be cool?
Yeah, I guess it'd be pretty cool.
Isn't that all that matters to Steve Kerr? Isn't that all that matters? Keeping his guys engaged, entertained, proprietary. Like, yeah, that's culture building.
I get the meaning behind it. I get why you would do it. It's just the meaning to the other coach and the other team.
Why they're a professional basketball franchise. If they don't want to be embarrassed, then don't be embarrassing.
I guess I'm not used to seeing a coach take a hammer to the coaching fraternity. That's what he did last night. He said, hey, we're so much better than you that I could sit back and breathe tonight. That's what it feels like.
I'm not used to you protecting the coaching fraternity.
It's weird.
Like, I'm a
protector of respect, though.
Here's what I would say to you, though. What?
I protect. Listen, I like to see, especially in sports, and especially as a guy who has roamed the sidelines for a 2022 girls lacrosse team, who's one of the best teams in the country. I know what disrespect feels like from other coaches. And so I am a protector of respecting the other team and respecting the other coach.
Which is fine for 13-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Professional athletes are professionals.
I walked over to an opposing sideline once and yelled at a 13-year-old girl.
Well, that's why
she was talking trash to me, though. I mean, respect. That's what it's all about. You respect me, I respect you. And Triviano, whatever his name is, he certainly respects Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr showed no respect back to JT.
Wait a minute, you just changed the initials, too? Because I think you were calling him J something else before. JP you were calling him before.
It's Priviano?
No, never mind.
Oh.
So, I want to get into this Lane Johnson-Teddy Bruschi beef.
Oh, really?
Welcome back, Greg.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We've been calling Bruschi Baghdad Bruschi, and Lane Johnson doesn't mind going after Baghdad Bruschi. So, because anytime there's a Patriot scandal, Bruschi, where he's always in Bristol the day of Patriot scandal, I'm pretty sure he comes in by Flume from Foxborough. Like, just whenever there's a scandal, he's got a zip line or something straight from Foxborough to the first base, the first take set.
Gillette Stadium.
Yes, just a zip line. Wait a minute, Belichick deploys him like you would a submarine missile.
It's a long zip line.
And so Lane Johnson has noticed this, and Lane Johnson said that the Patriots have a fear-based culture, and Teddy Bruschi came back with, I don't know what you're talking about. I had a lot of fun, but Guillermo, put this on the poll. Do you think Lane Johnson and Teddy Bruschi define fun differently? Because I do. One of them's got a babysitter, and then says the Eagles need to know where I am in the offseason because they get scared. And the other one's Teddy Bruschi. So here's Teddy Bruschi's sound on the Will Kane show because Lane Johnson said, they don't have fun over there. They don't have fun. And Bruschi comes back with winning's fun.
You're still talking about the opponent you just played. When you should be reveling and having a great time and with the parade, with the ring ceremony, talk about your greatness.
Right.
Because it is what you achieved. You shouldn't be talking about the other team that you just beat. Because I'll tell you what, coming from a guy that's failed going back-to-back once and then succeeded going back-to-back once, it takes a lot more, fellas, than planned end zone celebrations, dog masks, and trick plays to go back-to-back. So if you think it's going to be all fun to win another championship next year, you got it all wrong. It takes serious men. It takes serious conversations. It takes serious practices, goal setting, all of that stuff. So he's going to see how hard it is.
Also takes the greatest quarterback ever.
That helps. Also, Welker was your teammate and played 4 years with Brady and 2 years, or 6 years with Brady and 2 years with Peyton Manning and never won a title. What are you looking around at the sky for? Because of your cheating joke?
I thought I heard someone say that.
You were pleased with your cheating joke? Is that what you were doing?
I was just looking around trying to figure out who said it.
So, Lane Johnson says of Teddy Bruschi, once a company man, always a company man.
He said that on Twitter in reply to Mike Reese posting video of Teddy Bruschi saying all the fun that he had in the Patriots organization.
So Will Kane and Teddy Bruschi were together, and Will Kane had some opinions on this as well. And I think we can all agree, right? Will Kane and Teddy Bruschi, it's like Ray Shremmerd, right? Or Migos. Like, in terms of fun, they're having a great deal of fun.
They will win a Super Bowl having fun, and they will not win 5 Super Bowls unless they can become a fear-based organization. Most organizations that are successful are run top-heavy, dictatorial, militaristic in style, heavy-handed management, letting everyone know. Everyone gets on the same page, we adhere to the same message, we adhere to the same job rules, and you get on the page or you're out. And that's how you execute a singular mission. Now, I think football is maybe the hyper example of that. It's the most like the military.
Yep.
Right? The military is a fear-based organization because it has a singular objective, kill the enemy. Football, do your job, win the play. I've got 53 men to get on the same page. Fear-based is how you maintain success. There may be other ways to attain success, but maintaining it is going to require that kind of mindset.
Wow.
I hate that thought process
that's
so
the whole
much.
culture credo.
The Warriors really seem to be fear-based.
Well, but they've got the best players, so that's not, yes, the Warriors with their DJs,
coaching themselves.
the Warriors coaching themselves do not seem terribly fear-based, and it's the best thing we've ever seen. But they need to be put off to the side because,
Okay.
I mean,
I think
it doesn't matter whether
fears the players there.
Yeah, it doesn't. They all fear Draymond. It is a fear-based organization. They all fear Draymond.
Don't forget, you can hear more of my sons Dan and Stu weekdays starting at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPNU.
Hi, everyone. Stugatz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugatz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugatz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Lebatard.
I found this interesting. I thought that you might too. There's good friends and good women. Sometimes both won't do. When you're as drunk as you can get, high as you can be. I can't remember the next line. Da-da-da-dee-dee.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-dum.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Stugatz.
Cody's very proud of what I'm about to say, which is a strange thing to be proud of, which is when you hear him sing, you can't tell if it's a really bad good singer or a really good bad singer.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch to Progressive can save an average of $620. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Hoping to have Michael Wilbon there in just a second. Tune into The Jump, in case I haven't told you this recently. Tune into The Jump as Rachel Nichols interviews Magic Johnson. That's today, 3 Eastern on ESPN. Here's your SportsCenter update. Champions League knockout stage starts today with Juventus versus Tottenham Hotspur and Basel versus Manchester City. I got none of that right.
Oof.
The Rays signed pitcher Sergio Romo. Did I get one of those right? Juventus versus Tottenham. No?
Juventus.
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 Juventus. Versus Tottenham Hotspur.
And it's Basel.
And Basel versus, is that Man U?
Yeah, that one.
There you go.
Yeah, Man U. It's so
Well
much
done.
easier like that. Feels good. And finally, Metallica frontman James.
No, it's Man City.
Uh-oh, the other man.
All right. Man City's Man U.
No,
No,
Man
the
City is
opposite.
Man City.
Right.
Manchester City is.
Manchester City.
Okay.
Manchester
Man U,
United is
Ginobili.
Manchester United.
And Basel's Basel?
Basel.
Basel's playing Manchester City. The Rays signed Sergio Romo.
Roy, I'm glad that you've been more efficient with the way that you've been writing these. They're much quicker. It's good that Stugotz doesn't stumble or get stuck on anything.
And finally, Metallica frontman James Hetfield.
Uh-oh.
Hetfield has landed his first film role. Is it Hetfield? It's Hetfield. Hetfield will be playing Officer Bob Hayward, who was the first officer to arrest Ted Bundy in 1975. Zac Efron is attached to playing Ted Bundy. Yeah, I was surprised by that. Guys, there's only one day left until Valentine's. If you're still looking for the perfect gift, 1-800-Flowers.com is here for you with beautiful bouquets starting at just $29.99. Do it today to order. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code DAN. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
I'm going to get in trouble with the audience. They always get mad at me. I'm the jerk around here because we're bad. And that read was unbelievable. Like, it was just unbelievable. That
Nailed
read.
it. I mean,
Mike Wilbon down for a second so I can say something to the audience. Okay, over under 3.5 Dannies. Over under 3.5 Dannies in this interview.
oh, wow. I'll go over 3.5 Dannies.
All right, let's go ahead and do it. Michael Wilbon with us now on ESPN Radio. Always enjoy talking to my friend Michael. So let's discuss with him the sports topic du jour, even though the last hour has been pretty lame. The Steve Kerr play calling thing, Michael. Thanks for making time for us. What did you make of all that?
Nothing, because I was sitting watching. I don't know, my little man cave here. I've got 3 sets, and there's a big one, and a big 80-inch screen. Non-millennials, the millennials wouldn't know anything about that. I don't watch on handheld. So I've got a big screen that the game I turned that game on because it was the only late game that was really going. And I saw the camera sort of zoom in at one point on Draymond and maybe Iguodala, but I wasn't paying attention to that degree. It was a blowout. The Suns seem like they're firmly the worst team in the league right now. And so I'm like, okay, Golden State's in control here. I'm not paying attention. I could tell they were doing something. And I turned it up long enough only to hear that was happening. And I didn't think anything of it because these are the dog days of the NBA. I was in Boston on Sunday for the Cavaliers game. And what really comes out, the one takeaway from the Cavaliers blowout of the Celtics is that there's only one team in the league this week that wants to play, that is having fun playing, excited to play. And it's Cleveland because of the circumstance. And the two teams that is torture for are Golden State and Boston. Warriors and Celtics. They just want to get to the break. They want to get to Thursday. It's all they're thinking about. They're consumed with it. And so, however, Boston couldn't distract themselves. The Celtics couldn't do that Sunday, and they took one on the chin. And the Warriors are Steve Kerr's trying to figure out, okay, how can I keep them engaged until Thursday? And that's the reality of this year with the schedule that they bastardized, is seeking to, by the way, pacify the players, because you've never had this many games before an All-Star break. And so every team in the league except the newly constructed Cavaliers, the newly saved Cavaliers, Every team wants to just go to an island, and that's my guess as to why Kerr's doing what he's doing.
What do you do with this? Greg Cote doesn't believe that millionaire professionals can be tired. He's been covering sports all his life.
No, Dan. I think that's misrepresenting. We don't want to hear it. Greg and I don't want to hear it from the millionaire athlete and the coach. You play basketball for a living, please.
Well, the other thing is, Michael, Stugotz and I think it was very disrespectful to the opponent to do what he did.
It might have been. Greg, I don't disagree with that. But I think that Steve Kerr has got to be more in tune with his team than the opponent. If the opponent, this is the way I treat running up the score all the time. If you don't want them to run it up, then play better. So I don't disagree with your take on the disrespect, but Steve Kerr's got to deal with his own team. He's got to coach his team.
Right, but he didn't coach him, Michael. He didn't. He had his own.
He did, because that's part of coaching. It's figuring out how it is that your guys can get through a night. That is coaching. That's why Steve Kerr's better at it than a lot of people.
Michael, get through the Phoenix Suns. I mean, Steve Kerr just has to show up to get through the Phoenix Suns.
It's not about the Phoenix Suns. It's about them. You're not hearing me. The teams that are bored, they have to figure out how to deal with themselves.
But Mike, you're not hearing me. It's his job to make sure they're not bored.
He did his job. He fulfilled it. He did it.
But Mike, it's disrespect. Mike,
the way you wanted.
No, Mike. What you're telling Michael? 1 second. What you're telling the other coach from the Phoenix Suns is, hey, that's why it's disrespectful.
I agree with that.
Okay, but we're so good that I'm not going to do my job tonight, and we're still going to beat you by 46.
That's your extreme, knee-jerk reaction that often is the case. That's not it. Not in my opinion. So you have yours and I have mine.
Okay.
But do you think anybody wants to hear that a team is, in effect, tired of winning so much? Nobody wants to hear.
That's not what I hear. That's what you hear. They're trying to get through the part of the schedule. And by the way, it ain't just them. Steve Kerr decided to take that tack. I add one other team that probably is excited about playing. That's Utah, because they've won 10 straight. Steve Kerr looked at a situation, diagnosed a situation with his team, and attempted to come up with a remedy. You may not like the remedy, but I'm not going to say that Steve Kerr was somehow irresponsible, because he addressed what he needed to with his team, period.
Mike, he does a Game 7 against the Rockets, Western Conference Finals. You okay with it? He lets Draymond...
Game 7's on February the damn 10th.
I'm just asking.
Don't ask me a stupid question.
Michael, no.
It's dumb to even ask me.
Michael.
To compare Game 7 with today? Stop being stupid. Seriously.
Mike, no, the Rockets are up 3-0, and Steve can't reach his team. They just want to get to the finish line. And he says, hey, Draymond, coach the team.
This is why, if I can talk to Dan about something reasonable, instead of this something this dumb, then I'll come back, then I'll stay on the show. If not, I got better stuff to do, fellas.
All right.
I got better stuff to do.
Yes.
Than engage with something. The topic is fine.
Right.
That, to somehow equate the NBA Finals with the week before the All-Star game is dumb.
Oh, so there's a time and a place for it. I see. Okay.
Yeah. There's a time and place for everything. It's called context.
Right. No, it's called the Phoenix Suns.
Danny, you want to talk, or am
It's called the Suns.
Yes,
Dan?
I'm here, buddy, and I don't blame you. They've dragged the show for the last hour.
I know. I don't have time for that. I got stuff. Talk to me about something reasonable.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the Cavs, but I also wanted to ask you why you mentioned all of that about your television at the beginning for no reason.
Because I had the game on. You asked me, was it a big deal or not? And I'm telling you, it wasn't a big deal to me, because I was watching it and didn't care. And I know none of you guys were watching it at the time.
True. No, correct. True.
That was 2 hours.
I got that right.
2 hours of sleep already by the time they tipped off.
Mike, honest to God.
You mean to tell me when it's Game 7 and you're not watching it?
I won't be watching.
Mike.
And I'll still be commenting on it.
Mike, I don't think I've ever heard you this angry, Mike.
Only I can do this to someone.
No, I've heard you yelling at Kornheiser in the newsroom, but not like on air publicly.
Because if Kornheiser says something that stupid to my face, I'd probably throw water on him.
I wish you were here to do that.
The Cavs, what they did, you know basketball, you know the history of basketball. The Cavs, what they did, give me some sort of parallel for that, because I haven't seen that.
You know what? I asked LeBron that after the game, and he said specifically, don't forget about some year. Now, they were contenders, whatever this year was. I think it was the last year they lost to the Celtics. He said, we brought in 4 new guys that year. He started naming the guys. And I was shocked because I didn't remember it. Look, everything has a tiny shelf life now. We all say, well, this has never happened, and of course it has happened. I tell you a time that the Phoenix Suns made a deal that changed everything in another way. It was dramatic with one guy. They were the number 1 seed, and they traded for Shaq. They traded for Shaq because Steve Kerr, by the way, did not believe, he looked at his team and didn't think it could beat San Antonio. And he traded for Shaq when they were the number 1 seed at the break. And it was such a stressful decision. Steve Kerr lost like more than 10 pounds in the process of making the decision to trade for Shaquille. They did it. It didn't work. And we tend to forget that was like 2000, I want to say 9 or something like that. So this stuff happens. LeBron mentioned the year that they traded all these people, and I didn't remember it, but he said, no, this is not unprecedented. He goes, I've had to do this before. Now, they weren't the favorite in the East like Cleveland is now, but I'm going to take LeBron at his word. I should have looked it up and didn't.
Do you have to go, or can we do another segment where we don't waste your time?
I got more Kerr questions.
Do you have to go? Do you want another segment, or do you got to get out of here?
I would love to do another segment, but I actually...
Okay, no problem.
I actually do have to go.
All right.
I'll stay.
All right. One more segment of Wilbon.
Right. Don't yell at me.
No, I want him to yell at you.
All right,
that was
I'm
good.
gonna yell back.
Okay, but no, let him yell and uninterrupted yelling.
Well, now he interrupts. Why can't I interrupt?
Well, because I want the sound of him enraged.
Okay.
It's funny.
You're right.
Don Le Batard.
There's fascination in power rankings. In fact, I'm coming out with a power ranking for power rankings, which ESPN's NFL Power Ranking right now is debuting at number 3 on my list. Right. So it's a good power ranking.
Stugotz.
Who's 2 and 1 on that list?
Well,
this is where his story falls apart.
No, because it's it's a non-ESPN entity, so we don't want to air it on this
heady play
airtime.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Michael Wilbon, nice enough to spend a second segment here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. I'll be at the kids' table.
Over under half on number of times he rips millennials. Turn his sound down so he can't hear me. Number of times he rips millennials this segment. Michael Wilbon with us now on ESPN Radio. A half is where I put it. Michael Wilbon rejoins us, and I want to talk to him about the way journalism has changed and the way that sports television has changed, because Michael Wilbon is there at the games. He's going and still doing the reporting. And so my guess is he objects to this proliferation of things like us that gasbag about what Steve Kerr should be doing when he's in there doing the actual reporting to find facts, and gasbags are opining without having facts. So, Michael, how much of an irritant is that in your professional journalism life?
Very little. I mean, my percentage of gasbag versus actual reporting has changed, as you know, for all of us. It changes over time. So, I'm still doing that in terms of pro basketball. I'm not in pro football locker rooms anymore. But, I'm just – nobody should be so definitive about their opinions when it comes to stuff they're not even involved with. I'm not that definitive in most opinions. I might be occasionally, but every day I got to have a strong take. It's why I don't listen to sports radio.
Well, what do you make of the way that you guys have changed sports television, though? Because, Michael, a lot of people would put on you guys, chemistry or not, groundbreaking television. The idea of argument television in sports starts with you guys.
I don't know. That's awfully high praise, Dan. Thank you. It may, but I think in there you've got to hear the following sentence. Yeah, you got a point there. I'm not so cocksure of anything. Anything. I mean, it'd have to be something really base and elemental for me to be that.
You seemed cocksure that Stugotz asked you a stupid question.
That's because it's Stugotz.
That's easy. Yeah. That's easy.
I'm not certain Dan would have gotten the same response.
Game 7 to February 12th, and then that's just dumb. And so that stuff I object to. I don't object to disagreement, obviously, is what I do now for a living as much as anything else. And I don't object to people's opinions. But I just I like them to be informed, and I like them to take into account something other than what they think.
Michael,
and I don't, throwing just gasoline on a fire. I don't have any interest in that. And then I realize a lot of people do. Like, that's probably at the base of what people just want to see fires blaze high, like California wildfires. They just want to see that. They want to hear that.
Have you ever fired a coach in print, Michael?
A couple of times, Dan, but it took something extreme. You and I talked about this too. That's hard. Like a coach, athletic director, I think when there are things that are outside the area of performance, and yeah, I have, but it's not something I wake up every day with fire the coach and trade the quarterback. I just think that sports is more complex than that, and the nuance of it is completely lost. And whatever part that Tony and I did to help lose the nuance, I apologize for, because I don't like that element of the discussion.
Michael, a little bit ago, you had a delicious rant against LeVar Ball. But doesn't that start with sports media turning him into a celebrity?
Yes. Our network, and I've said it on PTI multiple days, our bosses, our network turned him into that. You will never see him on PTI. And putting a microphone in under LeVar Ball's nose, why him more so than... Do you know anything about Kyle Kuzma's father?
No.
I don't.
No.
And so just because LeVar Ball is there and opening his mouth does not mean it's news. And it's lazy for editors and producers to not be discerning and not actually debate and have rigorous debate about what is news. LeVar Ball opening his mouth in an obnoxious way is not automatically news.
I just think that news has changed on us, Mike. Like it was news. The way that you and I did it used to be the standard for news, and that is not the standard anymore.
Yes,
and Mike,
right.
Mike, we lose. Right. We lose, Mike. We lose.
Dan, you're right about that. It has moved. I've not moved as far as the definition of it has evolved. I couldn't agree with you more. I agree with you completely. And yet we, the people in the business, still need to maintain some control. We need to discern to some point. We can't just, or you can say we're reacting to a tweet, but is it automatically news? It is if it's coming from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. If it's coming from LeVar Ball, I'm not treating it quite the same way. But I agree with you. That's a stodgy, old definition of what it is. And you know what? I'm stodgy and old, and I got the damn microphone in terms of my show every day. And so that's what it's going to be until the millennial takes over.
Mike, I'm wondering, though, and like we got a minute here, I'm wondering, though, you've been doing this for so long. Do you have a take or an opinion that you regret, that you've changed over time?
Oh, sure, all the time. Yeah, absolutely.
Is there one that sticks out for you?
Oh, God. I just think the general ones about what I feel about free agency or player movement, big issue stuff. I mean, the small ones don't matter. You know, whether you want to trade.
But you don't have. I thought the 0-16 Lions were making the playoffs. You don't have anything like that in your past.
I got so many of those. Those don't register. It's the big ones. It's the big ones that matter. I got stuff that I'd like if I was doing it today, just by virtue of being old. I feel differently about issues at 59 years old than I did at 39. Or 29, God knows.
Yeah, the Kerr one sticks out for me.
You should regret the Kerr opinion that you have. Michael, thank you for the time. We always appreciate it, sir.
All right, you guys.
Thanks,
be good.
All right, Michael.
Dan Le Batard.
My hair is unfashionably age-inappropriate long, perhaps the longest it has been since college, and may continue as such. I'm not sure why. Last vestiges of the... of the extreme outer limits of midlife crisis.
Stugatz.
Feudal shield held wobbly against the encroachment of mortality. Maybe the last stage before the onset of Mr. Rogers-style sweaters and the silent, surrendering acknowledgement of official old age.
All truth.
If this is how you always wrote, you would be like one of America's greatest authors.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio.
All right, Mike, this is funny what happened during the break because Stugatz, while a manipulator, is not a subtle manipulator. So Stugatz is like, hey, if you want to get some good sound, get the sound of me defending you against MC Hammer because he says he's never been more disappointed in me than he was in that segment, that he's never felt disappointment toward me. Except that segment with Wilbon.
Yeah, you have felt disappointment towards me. I think about, just about every day, right? It's a daily occurrence for you, which I understand. It's expected, and I don't blame you for it, but this is the first time I've been disappointed with you. Because, you just left me alone there. And here's what I hate. Seriously, Greg, thank you for trying to come to my defense.
Well, you guys agree. I agree with Wilbon.
That's fine. You can agree with Wilbon, but where I felt betrayed was, this is what I hate. He kept cutting me off. You were telling me to let him finish while he was cutting me off on our radio show. and you just weren't there for me in a way that I would have been there for you.
Okay, hold on a second. But because these fights are never actually real, and because you've been my friend for 20 years and Wilbon's been my friend for 20 years, the reason I asked you to back off was not to protect his feelings. It's so the audience could hear him angry and then make its discerning choice on whose side it wanted to take about the way that he was talking, because the way he was talking was way too dismissive.
It was. And listen, I guess I can handle my own stuff. Like, it was a good back and forth, but I hate this. I hate when guys do that. I hate it, Dan, that I'm Michael Wilbon, and therefore, because I've been doing this forever, and I got this great show, PTI, which it is. It's a great, innovative show. I love it, okay? But I can only have sports conversations with certain people. Get out of here. We're talking sports.
Well, there is a
difference.
There is a difference in sensibilities between us and Wilbon. He announced, hey, I'm now the stodgy old guy, and I'm the one with the microphone, and I'm going to go ahead and sit with the thoughts of, I have the platform, you don't, eat it. And that's off-putting. Nobody likes that. I have spent my career saying, look, this platform isn't just for us, but Cote recognizes it. Cote absolutely believes his sports opinion is worth more than yours because he's in those locker rooms reporting things and getting information, and he believes in journalism that way. I do it the right way. I form my opinions, nuance, and then you exist.
Right.
And the people.
I'm needed.
Okay, well.
I'm a representative of what's needed in sports media. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, I speak on behalf of the fans, man. I speak on behalf of people who are armed with no facts. Who just let it fly.
That's true.
That's what we do.
I know, but
that's what sports fans, Michael Wilbon, that's what we do. We can't all go to the games. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Well, you scalp your tickets. You could go to the games, but you just scalp your tickets for profit.
Yes.
But to me, there is a funny disconnect between you and him on that, because I don't think there's anyone listening to that who isn't discerning about, maybe you can disagree with the question, but the way that Wilbon disagreed with the question put Stugatz at the children's table. And if you have an objection to me not protecting him, I didn't think he needed protection. I thought it was good radio. But you can make your own assessments of what you think of Wilbon for treating Stugatz that way, and you can make your own assessments about Stugatz. I'm sure you're going to side with Stugatz. But that show, those two guys have gotten older.
Yeah.
They have older sensibilities. They were the pioneers on this front. I remember specifically when PTI was created, the way that people would say that can't work. That was the up-close spot. That's where Roy Firestone did the interviews. Two sports writers on television arguing, what the hell is that? That's going to last 6 months. Even Kornheiser thought it'd be off the air fast. And look at what it became.
Sure.
And the ego and success of that will make you feel like your opinions matter because you're the one giving them on television in a way that 1 million people a day are watching. And so I understand how you come upon, in older age, being dismissive of the guy like you who appears and is going to tell him, the journalist, as a fan, the right way for Steve Kerr to coach his team when you're armed with no facts.
But he watched the game in front of his TV. I mean, he wasn't like he was there or anything.
No, but he's around the team. He's talking to the people. He's covered the NBA all his life. Right. You've only gone to NBA games the nights that you don't sell your tickets for profit.
That's fair, but I could still, and that's my point, Dan. I don't need to be at the game to have an opinion on whether or not Steve Kerr, with what he did last night, was right or wrong. It's my opinion. I read the story. I know what he did. It doesn't matter. Like, who cares? You can't have that conversation with me because I'm Stugatz and you're Michael Wilbon? That's crazy. I'm sorry.
And most of the audience would agree with you on that, if not all of it.
Yeah, Wilbon was rude to Stugatz in being so dismissive. Plus, this was not a fact-based argument. This was not an argument where it was quantitative. It's a very legitimate opinion on both sides, but I'm amused that anybody gets angry over a discussion like this. It's not a serious discussion.
Well, but that's
it's not about social injustice.
But that's where the discussion, that is where the difference in sensibilities lies. Michael Wilbon does not like, man, this has been something I could tell you about sports television for a while. I'm not saying that our highly questionable is the right way to do television, but I do think that it reflects in some ways my sensibilities. Just my dad being there as a court jester, and we just like play YouTube videos and watch them together, and it's stupid. But I remember going to PTI for the first time, and this is an absolute disconnect between our show and the average sports audience. I remember going to PTI for the first time, and there were a bunch of manufactured issues, like is Frank Reich, the coach for Andrew Luck, or whatever stupid issue of the day it is that News of the Day we're talking about. And I was in there talking to the producers, they're like, why don't you guys lead with that bear that fell out of a tree and landed on a trampoline? Like, why aren't you guys leading with that? Why are you leading with the manufactured question of the day? And the success of PTI, especially compared to our show, which is half the size of PTI, would tell you that the audience sides with them on those sensibilities. Because our show has been a lot of desserts for a long time. Their show is for people who take sports seriously. And they have fun with it, but it's fun to a point. It's not the fun that we're doing where we're urinating all over everything. And we want to just have trampoline bears. You know what I mean? Like, this has been a disconnect between, the producer for PTI and our show is the same. The producers, all the people are the same.
Yeah.
Their show is better. Their show is more popular. Their show is more successful. Their show has the sensibilities that the sports fan wants more than this show does. This show is an acquired taste for the sports fan who doesn't want to take his sports that seriously. But at that intersection is where we get into all our fights with Wilbon and with everybody in sports. When I get in trouble with ESPN, that's the intersection where I get in trouble with people at ESPN. What? I sold my Hall of Fame vote to Deadspin. It's funny. What? I put up billboards of LeBron in Akron. What? It's funny. No, serious sports. You're suspended. All right, good talk.
Boring.
I supported you through all those times.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about my lack of support for Stugatz in a second.
No, we're good. You and I are good, man. You said what you had to say. You listen, you thought I could handle it myself, and I did. I just didn't like how Wilbon.
I understand if people are mad at me and at Wilbon.
No, they shouldn't be mad
I
at
get
you.
it.
Just
No,
Wilbon.
but the tone was bad, and the words were bad. 1-800-Flowers. 1-800-Flowers is where it's at. People, we've been telling you for a while. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. 1-800-Flowers right now. Right now!
Yeah, you have no choice.
Right now!
Yes.
You have a choice. You can do it the next couple of times I read it, but right now!
All right. Well, maybe you do have a choice. Tone, fine. Right now, 1-800-Flowers has amazing offers on Fine. Tone.
You want more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats? Tune in starting at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPNU.
Attention shoppers, clean up on aisle 14. Clean up on aisle 14. Someone dropped a jar of pickles. Kosher pickles.
Beatboxing at a big box store. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
A red minivan has the lights on in the parking lot.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Geico.
Been on the show several times.
Stugats.
Is that B-O-Z?
It's B-A-S.
Yes.
B-A-S. All right. I was, because there's Boz Skaggs.
Boy, you guys are dragging this thing right into the quicksand.
Well, why are you pronouncing it Boz, though?
Right.
Probably like Baz or something.
Exactly.
Bass.
B-A-S, right?
Bass Rootin.
Boz would connote a Z, right?
Right. Yeah, it's like a
suggest
Scandinavian
Z. Yeah,
name.
like Boz, like Bosworth.
Boss
Yeah.
Rootin.
B-O-Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continue.
Something about a dog?
What's the dog's name?
Speedy.
Speedy Rootin.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
I do want to talk a little bit more about this idea.
Mike Lombardi!
What?
That guy. I can't.
Mike Lombardi!
Jason Kelsey. What?
Mike Lombardi!
Now there is a conundrum. Jason Kelsey is a bit of a conundrum because
Mike Lombardi!
the words he was saying at the microphone suggest that Jason Kelsey takes himself and his team and sports very seriously. However, the costume that he was wearing, which was
awesome,
did not suggest that Jason Kelsey took sports seriously. And the thing that I want to talk with you guys about, because our audience is strong. Our audience is, loyal. Stugatz, we saw some numbers on that megacast that we did.
Crazy.
And people were stickier watching what we were doing during the national championship game. The people who were watching for longer than the people who cared about Alabama and Georgia were watching that actual game. The numbers are a little bit crazy. So there is a place for this nonsense. But I would say Stephen A. Smith's sensibilities, aren't they aligned with Wilbon's?
Yes.
Yep.
Like, how many people on ESPN are you finding that don't take themselves seriously? How many people, and throughout the entire network, all the people complaining to the talent office about the crud we do around here to them, how many people at ESPN do you look at and say, that is a person on camera who doesn't take himself seriously and is just like, he doesn't mind being the court jester the way that Stugatz is the court jester, or the way that me grading on a curve amid other journalists is the court jester.
I mean, you're rare from the standpoint, you are a journalist, a great journalist, and you don't take yourself too seriously. There aren't many people, I'm trying to think, people at ESPN.
But I'm saying that's why you should be thankful for that. It's the reason we get to exist. If everybody was doing it our way, we wouldn't be any kind of special.
No.
We need everyone else to be that self-serious in order for us to stand out not being serious.
100%. I am thankful for that.
No, I've been railing around about sports for 25 years about the idea that you allow me to exist in this place where I'm the guy saying, hey, fun and games should be fun and games. Instead of arguing about the Phoenix coach's feelings and whether he was disrespected last night because Steve Kerr was doing fun and games like fun and games.
JP.
Triani.
Yeah.
Like you guys say, so you guys are okay taking things seriously on the stuff you take seriously, which earlier in the show was defending the respect that the Phoenix coach we couldn't name deserved.
Yeah, but the difference is my taking it seriously doesn't equate to the anger level that you see from Wilbon.
Right. I was defending myself. I don't care about the coach. He's entitled to his opinion on the coach. It was disrespectful to me. I don't care about any of that. He can have his opinion on the coach. What I don't understand is why can't I have mine? I can have it with Greg. I can have it with Mike. I can have it with you. I can have it with everyone else on the planet but Michael Wilbon. Think about that. We're talking about sports, Michael. Seriously. Sports.
Mm-hmm.
You can have it with Tony. You can't have it with me. Reality, not me. I mean, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, you do this, Stugatz, and you're right.
I know I am.
But you were him 10 years ago.
Of course I was.
You were that. You 100%. Were sports radio gas bag whose opinion mattered more than Joe on a mobile. You were that.
Yeah, I know. And I aspired to be that. But
you aspired, yes, you aspired to be everything Michael Wilbon has become. And if you had gotten your way, you would have become that.
No doubt. Maybe I'm a tad jealous.
But right or wrong, if you had gotten your way.
I've evolved, Dan. I mean, listen, okay? I sit with you every day. My mind, it can be changed. I can have different opinions. I'm actually a better person for it. I am. You have made me a better person. I've told you that a million times because I was always the guy wanting to fire the coach with no information. I don't do it anymore, or at least not as much anymore. Okay? I don't.
Hold on.
And I'm thankful to you.
Hold on.
Guys, I don't do it as much anymore.
Now you're still a rotten person.
Yeah. I was on a roll, though, man.
You actually think you weren't a rotten person? You're a liar. Do that for 1 second. I don't trust you at all,
Well, Cody enjoyed getting in there as one of the Kentucky Fried Chicken. It is. It's fun.
They won't let me go, man. They just will not allow me to get back to the person I wanted to be. I have to stay right here. Thank you, guys.
Because you want it. You want to demand respect. You do. Ultimately, your anger right now is about you want to be the guy who demands more respect. And frankly, you were disrespected. I'm not disputing that.
I just want to be able to have a conversation without being disrespected. That's all. I was respectful of him and his opinions on our show.
I know, but Stugatz, that's why the Army loves you. That's why the Army is behind you. That's why there is a Stugatz Army. And furthermore, I would say that one of the funny things that's happened here is I really don't think there are a whole lot of people siding with Wilbon on this one.
Well, they might agree with Michael's opinion on it. In fact, many people on my mentions do. They don't agree with how Michael went about having that discussion.
I know, but I would say that largely, don't you think this particular disconnect is the reason you get to be popular, Stugatz, is because you are a voice for the people. I marveled yesterday. We were talking about a truly despicable act. Stugatz went on the radio and said he was giving $100 per goal to the Florida Panthers charity, did an assortment of interviews talking about his charitable work, and then never gave the money. And it became a despicable, charming act the moment Stugatz said, but it felt good to not feel like a rotten person. It felt good to get the applause for being a good, charitable person. I know there's no way to actually get that applause, and he hadn't considered the one option, which is do genuine charitable work.
Yeah.
He's saying the only way for me to get that applause is through fraud.
Yes. I got caught up in the emotion of the whole thing, and put something out there I probably shouldn't have, but it did feel good, man. I mean,
everyone applauding your charitable efforts.
Yeah.
You were a good
Every
person.
local news outlet wanted me on. Look what this guy is doing. It felt great.
That's the best of both worlds, where you appear to be charitable without actually being charitable.
Genius.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is that the best of both worlds?
The best being
I would say the best would be to actually be charitable.
And
But
help people?
no, now you see into the soul of both Cody and Stugatz. How do I turn any charitable effort into maximum exposure and glory for me?
Stugatz wants a new boat. Time for some more ads.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is that the best of both worlds, appearing to be charitable while not actually contributing to charity?
I'm not certain Greg realizes how perfect that was.
I don't think Greg realizes what charity is supposed to be. He doesn't understand the idea of helping others.
It's the thought that matters.
No, it's Greg is about helping Greg. So the best way to do it was to not actually be charitable, just get the credit for being charitable.
Best of both worlds.
That is my every Tuesday, people.
Don Lebatard.
I love me some doctors. Have a lot of respect for the medical profession.
Stugatz.
Except chiropractors.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio.
Greg Cote of the Miami Herald in with us today. We will have a back in my day from him in minutes. In this segment, you will get a Greg Cote back in my day. But have you guys seen what is happening here with Markelle Fultz, the number 1 overall pick? None of us had ever heard of him before last year. It was weird. He comes out of nowhere because his team at Washington had won 9 games.
Right.
And so people weren't watching those games, and people didn't know how good this person was. And then he becomes the number 1 overall pick over Lonzo Ball, and he seems to have short-circuited. He seems to have some sort of mental hiccup or a shoulder injury that doesn't allow him to shoot straight. And this guy for the Philly Voice, Kyle Neubeck, spent 6 months talking to Sixers staffers, people who diagnosed Fultz, people close to him. He says he found a lot of contradiction, a lot of secrecy, a lot of fingers pointed in every direction. Here's something else that he found. Virtual reality goggles to help him visualize making basketball plays.
Whoa.
Now, that sounds like gobbledygook, right? All of you are like, what is that? I don't know the science behind that. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not going to dismiss the methods just because I'm ignorant about the methods. But, man, that's not something you want around your number 1 overall pick who's having trouble shooting. If he wants to do that as part of his training and is having success or is struggling even, I get it. But this guy is short-circuited, Stugatz.
Wow, 33% from the field.
Right. Yeah, you want that guy to come out of college and just be able to shoot. No virtual
But they're so young.
reality
How
glasses.
old is he, Mike? How old is
I think he's 19 or 20, Dan. I mean,
just getting to the league so young, and we were spoiled by LeBron. LeBron gets to the league and looks like a man already. Markelle Fultz is basically, this is something that should have been happening for him in college.
he's 19, but let's be careful, me saying let's be careful, because that's a big gulf between, hey, my shoulder hurts and maybe he's short-circuiting. Like maybe the shoulder.
I know, right? But his shot doesn't look right.
Oh,
yes,
no, it looks awful.
It might just be the shoulder.
Right.
It might not be a mental short-circuiting. He might not be physically right. But when you're dealing with virtual reality basketball plays, that sounds like a mental solution. Mm-hmm. That does not sound like his shoulder hurts when that's some of the training that they're doing.
Well, it could also be because his shoulder hurts and he can't make the plays on an actual court. Virtual reality might be able to help with that. I understand maybe coming from your perspective, but VR is commonplace now in all sorts of sports, in the NFL too.
This is right. Mike is right. This is a Sixers decision, actually. They use this with other players. They've used it with Joel Embiid. Ryan Colangelo is a big proponent of it. So.
I know, but what I'm saying is because you've got a guy who seems to be, at this point, 19 and mentally frail, doing it with him becomes different. Yes, that's good context to have, that they've been doing it with everybody. But the idea that this person can't figure out his way, it's such a hard thing. It's such a big ask. You've noticed that these people physically don't look right, right? Physically, Markelle Fultz and Lonzo Ball, they do not look as mature as the people they're playing against.
Right.
It's like seeing sixth graders out there. In some respect, when you look at Bam, when you look at the guy for the Heat whose name I always have trouble with, Adebayo, when you look at him,
save.
Thank you. when you look at him, you see a fully formed 20-year-old physically who might even get bigger but belongs among men.
Physically, he looks like he belongs. You're right. Fultz and Lonzo Ball are two guys, not saying that they won't, not saying they won't be great, but physically, they look like right now, and maybe because they're 19 years old, they look like they don't belong.
I looked at a 2-round NBA mock draft, 60 players, 0 college seniors, 2 juniors. They're drafting babies.
Right. But Ben Simmons is also a baby. He looks like he belongs right now.
Yes.
You know?
It's funny because this year, like, a lot of Hinkie supporters are taking a victory lap saying, that's how you do tanking. See, the plan worked. But let's examine what he got out of it. Okafor, no longer there, right? That was a disaster. Fultz, this is going to be a disaster, it looks like.
But no.
Simmons missed his first year. Embiid been plagued by injuries.
But Mike, you hit on Simmons and Embiid, and you got it.
Well, it's not even...
he missed an entire year. Don't forget that.
The thing about the process, though, that is funny is the process is simply just keep drafting a quarterback till you get one.
Correct.
Use all your picks. Like, the process is increase the margin for error space that you can totally whiff on Fultz and Okafor. This is the process. You could totally whiff, but you have so many of those picks that you're going to get it right at some point on Embiid and Simmons, but they haven't gotten it right yet. What Mike's saying about the injuries is right.
I mean, the guys that they got it right on have missed seasons.
A lot of time.
But now they're done, and that's the key point, Mike. It's a great point because they're done, because the team will never be bad enough again as long as Embiid and Simmons are healthy for them to keep taking the quarterback.
But if they're not healthy, you can't have the Hinkie victory lap. Because those Okafor, right now, Okafor and Fultz look like intergalactic misses.
Yes.
Like they're as bad as anything you've ever seen drafted that high.
Bennett from Cleveland.
No, but I'm saying, like, in that conversation, right now, Fultz is in that conversation with Bennett.
And with Fultz, it doesn't sound like an age thing or an injury thing when you're going to virtual reality. It just sounds like a psychological issue.
But
33%.
That they're doing it with everybody, though.
I think
doing it with everybody on their team.
Well, I mean, the NBA is doing it, too.
You might be showing your age a little bit by correlating VR with it being...
You were very gentle with that earlier when you said I could see how you would see that from your perspective, from the nursing home. You were very gentle with that.
33%.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You keep saying
abnormal.
That. That is correct.
That's abnormal. That's like a golf...
like 2 games.
That's like a golfer who has the yips.
No, but don't do it on... He's not right. Like, he's in practice, he's missing stuff. His shot doesn't look right. Like, that's not even a lot of games he's played. Whatever 33% you're putting out there, he's not ready to be on an NBA basketball court.
I've seen several Fultz shot form videos on my timeline. None of them are the same. And it all has a hitch.
Yeah.
That's the only consistency in it.
All right, I lied to you. Greg Cote's back in my day, and Chris Sims next.
Dan Le Batard.
You want me to get real?
Stugats.
I'll get real.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Greg Cote of the Miami Herald in with us today. His Back in My Day will be in minutes, but first we go to Chris Sims of Bleacher Report. Chris Sims has been nice enough.
Are you outraged that Kevin and Bean got Jack White on their show?
I mean, Zippy and the Juice should have gotten it.
It is the world-famous K-Rock. Is that a fine? That's a fine.
Yeah, it is.
The world-famous K-Rock.
That
Yeah,
is
go
a
ahead.
fine,
That's
yeah.
a $2 music snob fine.
$2?
Chris Sims, number 26. We've got, since Nick Foles at 33, since Eli Manning at 38 is where I should start. Eli Manning was 38. Geno Smith ahead of him, 37. Colt McCoy ahead of Eli Manning. Brett Hundley ahead of Eli Manning. A.J. McCarron, Nick Foles. Carson Palmer ahead of Eli Manning. Woof. Woof.
Yeah.
Woof on your Carson Palmer assessment.
The next one ain't great either.
Number 31, Jay Cutler. Patrick Mahomes at 30. Josh McCown, 28. Jacoby Brissett, 27. Ryan Tannehill. And number 26, according to Chris Sims of Bleacher Report, the 26th best quarterback in the universe is...
Tyrod Taylor, Buffalo Bills.
All right.
Wow.
All right, we're getting to some...
You got it better than Tannehill.
Now we're getting to some rankings. Yeah, but only because Tannehill's hurt.
Yeah, that's right. It is. I think if Tannehill was completely healthy, he would be above a Tyrod Taylor. It's going to get real interesting. I don't know. Late next week, when we start to get into my top 20 guys, I think that's when we'll start to have some good conversations.
Dalton is not going to be on this list. This is becoming clear to me.
Don't say it.
No, you don't have to say anything. But Dalton isn't anywhere on the 71 and shouldn't be. I'm with you. And shouldn't be. So we'll get back to that at a later date. Chris, thank you for being on with us. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, guys. Have a good one. See ya.
Bleacher Report. Check him out. Give him some clicks. That you don't have to actually listen to it. Just give him some clicks.
Yeah, him and Lefko.
Time now for Greg Cote's Back in My Day.
And now, it is time to take a trip down memory lane. Here's your guide, Greg Cote, with Back in My Day.
Strange signs. I can't drive 10 minutes without seeing something on somebody else's car that makes me go, like CNC Music Factory. I don't get the combative, retaliatory nature of signs. There are stick figure signs that depict the makeup of your family, dad, mom, 2 kids, a dog. And so there arose signs in which some Freddy Krueger character is chasing your stick family with a chainsaw. There are My Kid Made the Honor Roll signs, and so somebody dreamed up the My Pit Bull is Smarter Than Your Honor Roll student bumper sticker. Seriously? Let me ask your pit bull the answer to this question. What is 14 plus 3? When he tells me, then you've got an argument. I also don't get those yellow triangular baby on board rear window signs. I'm thinking of retaliating with a sign for people driving with a beautiful woman that reads baby on board. I mean, what's the point? The message. Don't get me wrong. I'm a new grandpa. Of course I'm going to be careful driving behind a kid in a car seat, but that suggests I'm going to feel free to veer and careen recklessly in traffic unless there's a baby to bring me to my senses. It's the same with those neighborhood yard signs I'm seeing lately that say something like, drive like your children live here. How about I drive like I value all lives equally and apply my brakes for a 64-year-old woman almost as if she were a precious child? One other sign that mystifies me is the large rear window RIP decal mourning the passing of your loved one, sort of a headstone on wheels. Don't get me wrong, I am sorry for your loss. It's just that back in my day, mourning was sort of a personal and private thing, not something we publicized at 70 miles an hour. 99.99% of people driving behind you and seeing that decal do not know you and did not know your dearly departed. It's just weird to me broadcasting something so intensely personal for public consumption. It'd be like me flying a bumper sticker that read, honk if you have shy bladder syndrome like me. Folks, maybe it's fomented by the social media age, but please do not share so much personal information. Love your baby on board. Be proud of your honor roll student. Mourn your lost loved one. Just don't feel the need to shout it into a megaphone. Keep your emotions, sorrow, and pride unhealthily cloistered and pent up like I do. I'm Greg Cote, and that's how it was back in my day.
Yeah, Guillermo, put it on the poll. Did he have to look up CNC Music Factory? Put it on the poll at Levitard Show, because he not only went musty reference, he went musty reference that I'm certain he had to look up. There's no way that he remembered that things that make you go, was CNC Music Factory.
You want me to answer that?
I know the answer to that.
We already know the answer,
You don't need to. You didn't know it off the top of your head.